This is Leili Nishmat Avi Mori, Aaron Ben Yisachar, whose yard sites are ending up as the years go by. It's been more than 20 years, significantly more than 20 years, but his memory is fresh in my mind. I still see him giving me my last word of advice in terms of real estate is always a good investment. I should invest in real estate. His life was actually, it's interesting, his life was a model of investments. He invested in his financial affairs, and more than that, he invested in his family. He always was striving and pushing us to aim for excellence. He was a perfectionist, and I followed in his footsteps. He always wanted us to be the best that we could be in whatever we do, and we all tried to do that. We all tried to listen to that model, to that ideal, and we all, in our ways, made our best efforts to make him happy and to be as excellent in everything that we did as possible. His life was a life of effort, was a life of difficulties, had to go through a war, lost his family, captured by the Gestapo and escaped, a life of difficulties of traveling to a new world, making a new life, starting a family, raising the family, making a living under very difficult times, and at the same time maintaining his standards set for him by his parents, Aleichem HaShalom, who obviously raised him in the proper derech to not only respect and to keep, but to cherish all of the avodas that we do, and to maintain the highest levels of Yahadus, Kashrus, Shmir Shabbos, respect, and tradition. Very traditional. He was very traditional. He always wanted to do things according to the tradition that he had. Every single day when I put on my tefillin, I think about the fact that his father wore the tefillin in Nusach Sfard, and my father wears tefillin in Nusach Ashkenaz. Through some interesting fluke of nature and history, my father, when he became bar mitzvah, his father told him, go out and buy a pair of tefillin. So he didn't know what to get. He got not what his father did. I always go out of my way to do things because that's what my father did. And interestingly enough, not always what his father did, whom I'm named after, as I'm sure you know, Yitzchar. But he was a man of tradition. You had to do it this way because that's the way that it was done. And that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. But the minhagim of our forefathers is a very, very important concept which he maintained, and I try to follow in his footsteps to do that. We sing the same nigunim, we follow the same minhagim. I remember when I was a bar mitzvah boy, I went to Daddy, what do we do on Chol Hamoed? We wear tefillin, we don't wear tefillin. He says, my father didn't wear tefillin on Chol Hamoed, and I don't wear tefillin on Chol Hamoed. I said, okay. At the time, I was actually disappointed because I love my tefillin so much. I wanted to wear them every day. But if that was the minhag, that's the minhag. And happy to say I'm not in a place where 99% of the people don't wear their tefillin. So I blend in very quietly. People say I don't blend in anywhere. I make a lot of noise. But the fact of the matter is that most of the people don't wear tefillin. I don't wear tefillin because that's what my father did. And I'm very happy to put them back on again after Yom Tov is over. So, what can one say about one's father? Interesting. So much to talk about, so many memories. And yet, human being was a warm person. He was very warm. Always enjoyed company. Always enjoyed being with people. Invited people in. It was always on Shabbos, the unusual of Forest Hills. Come make Kiddush. Our own mini Kiddush club outside of Shul. We lived across the street, as everybody here knows. We lived very close to a shul because that was what was important. It was important for us to be close to the shul, to participate in the shul. I was a very timid and scared kid, and he always encouraged me to go out and do things, and especially when I got older, he told me to daven for the Amid, which of course, in retrospect, was a tremendous lesson for me, and it served me well my whole lifetime. He told me to get up there and daven. So I did, because he told me to. My father said to do it, so I did it. So I wasn't timid up there at all. So it helped me. He also sent my brother and I, and brother and me, of course, to sing in a choir, which was also a very dramatic thing to be up there in front of the whole tzibur and to perform. And we did. We did it great. So he brought me out of my shell and was successful in getting me to be the, how shall I say, less timid person than I am. Other people may call me loud and boisterous, but I call myself less timid, based on his advice and his direction and his guidance. He worked as a dress cutter, worked himself up to be a dress designer, always struggling to provide parnasa for us and for our upbringing. And yeshiva education was a non-question. It was not even a question. We had to go to yeshiva, and he had to struggle to make ends meet. And in his later years, to struggle to make the girls, Surim Lai, pay for their yeshiva. He thanked the yeshiva there for providing scholarships by being a massive donor to yeshiva. Always went to people and asked, give me something for the yeshiva, give me something for the yeshiva. And they put his name up on the wall, which was a testimony to his efforts, and a deserved testimony, deserved recognition of his efforts. So his efforts all over were very, very successful. And one last thing before I forget, because I think that's a very, very important thing, he was a wonderful artist, and he used those artistic abilities to help, I don't know how many people, I never found out, I'll find out after 120 years, how many people were actually helped by the false documents that he produced to help people in Europe either get out of Europe or get through Europe or get away from the Nazi Yimach Shemam. And that should not be neglected in any talk that we give about his life. That he did that as a lifesaver. He was making nefesh b'Yisrael. Even if you save one life, it's an olam. And for that, he's in a very, very high place, I'm sure, up there with the tzaddikim and with the chassidim and with all the other people who helped others and saved lives in Klal Yisrael. So that should not be neglected or forgotten. Hashem, he should continue to be a male for us. Amen.